What's going on, my voiceover friends? Hey there, I'm Bill DeWeese, professional voiceover talent, voiceover coach, and voiceover demo producer. I had to think about that for just a second. Still a little early for me. Thanks for joining me this morning for the morning voiceover huddle. First of all, let me just say I apologize for yesterday. I didn't give you guys a heads up that I wasn't going to be able to be here. I had it was my annual checkup with the doctor, so that's why I was gone, and everything's okay. But let me just say this: getting older sucks. Everything that you took for granted when you were 25. Add on several decades, you can take nothing for granted. It seems that every single little decision you make has a bigger impact on your health and your quality of life. So I'm a little further down the road now. So I've got to be very, very attuned and conscious of everything that I put into my mouth, activities, all that kind of stuff. So, but it's all good. The truth will set us free. So knowing where I stand and all that's good. So we're all good moving forward. Well, welcome to this Friday edition. What we do on Friday is answer questions. So if you have a question that's burning on your mind regarding voiceover, why don't you throw it up in the live chat, and we'll get to those here in just a bit. What I'm going to do here this morning is I'm going to reach into the old voiceover email bag, that is. I got just a awesome email several days ago from a gentleman who is here on the live stream faithfully every morning, who's been in my voiceover blueprint program now for several months. I don't remember the exact amount. I don't think it's been a full year, but I think it's been several months. And he sent me the nicest email. I'm not sharing it with you because it's a nice email. I'm sharing it with you because there's I think, some lessons to be learned in the email. Bob Loudermilk is who I'm talking about. And you guys see him here on the morning stream. Great guy, very kind, encouraging gentleman, and sent me again this email. And I'm not going to read through the entire thing, but I wanted to share some of the things here that I think that you'll find beneficial, because he gives some perspective to the whole starting off process, the lifting off process of voiceover. And I mentioned it, I believe, in the last live stream, that the most difficult time you will ever face in voiceover are the initial days. It's those first few weeks and months of getting momentum, overcoming inertia, getting things going, because once that snowball begins to roll down the hill, it becomes easier and easier. I mean, no, it always requires work. Don't get me wrong. But it is a business after all. But the beginning of any endeavor is always the most difficult, but it's also can be the most exciting, because that's when, passion is high. And don't allow the work part of it to frustrate you and to kill the passion part of it, because you need that as well. So anyhow, here's the email from Bob. Let me get a sip of my hot coffee here. Bill, just wanted to affirm and thank you for so many of the insights, lessons, perspectives, and ideas that you have shared since I have been following and utilizing so many of your resources. I feel fortunate that I landed my first 2 jobs via Upwork last week. Bob, you know what I'm going to do. Somebody said, Bill, all you have to do is press that button on top. It's a lot easier. That's why I don't do that. It's a defective product. I feel fortunate that I landed my first 2 VO jobs via Upwork last week, and also had my name accepted for inclusion in an audiobooks publisher's talent pool. That's amazing, based on having heard my demo and an additional read that they wanted me to do. Only about 3.5 weeks had elapsed since I started getting my name out there to pursue various opportunities. Indeed, what you've taught your students is most correct. Namely, especially at the outset of your VO career, you must hustle to market yourself. And just because you land a job or 2, the marketing cannot stop. It requires imaginative thinking about how and where you wish to promote yourself. Landing a job or 2 is great when it first occurs. Indeed, it is. It makes you a believer that you do have the potential to be successful. But without intensive, planned, targeted promotion, you will get nowhere. Just because you land a job or 2 initially doesn't mean you can sit back, light up that cigar, and assume that jobs will start rolling your way, as tempting as that may be. Side note, You've stressed this time and time again. I just wanted to affirm that and encourage your ongoing reminders to those just starting out. Even if you start staying busy with jobs, the marketing must not stop. I also found that, and then he goes on to share some other comments. But this is coming from a guy who's at the front end of his voiceover career, but he already gets the fact that it takes an investment of time and energy to get things started, but also, just as importantly, as things get started, that it's going to continue to require an investment of time and energy because once you stop spinning the plate. Now, getting the plate spinning, it takes a lot of energy, and then it starts to go on its own. But if you don't occasionally give it a bit of a spin, what happens? It slows down, it falls off the stick and it breaks. And, nobody wants a broken voiceover career. So it will always require your ongoing marketing effort. So thank you, Bob, for sharing those words. And I hope those of you who are earlier on in your voiceover career will find that encouraging because that's how it works. And by the way, speaking of voiceover marketing, I just began work on my next live training event, which will happen later in June. And it's all about marketing. Now, I did a marketing event not long ago where I shared the specific strategies of what I do. What I'm going to do here is talk more about the thing that I do differently than most anybody I've ever met in voiceover is that, you've probably been told a million times, well, you must find your voiceover niche if you want to be successful. Find your niche, find your niche, find your niche. And I can't tell you the number of people come to me saying, everybody's saying I need to find my niche. What's my niche? Tell me, what is my niche? Listen, stop. You do not. As a matter of fact, it can be detrimental to begin spending your energy earlier on in your career trying to figure that out. Now, this is coming. I understand marketing. I'm an MBA. I'm a former marketing consultant and professor. I understand a thing or two about marketing. So I'm just saying that I'm not coming this, with no experience and blind. And I've been doing this within the voiceover context for the past 17 years. And I'm telling you, that is really, really bad advice. And so in this live marketing event, I'm going to lay out for you my philosophy and my plan and how I take an anti-niche approach to make a lot of money in voiceover. So just make a mental note. You'll be getting more information from me on that soon. And by the way, I didn't mean to turn this into just a long pitch for what's going on in terms of my training, but I do need to mention before I get to your comments and questions that today is the last day. Today is the last day to buy the video recordings of my last live training event, which just happened several days ago, which was all about, it's called Home Recording Studio Secrets. So it's how to make sure you get top-notch quality audio, plus a couple of bonuses. One where I give you a tour of my studio, show you all my equipment, my software, my plugins, and all of my personal settings on my plugins. Also, the other bonus includes videos of my son Alex and I talking and discussing the complete audio chain from microphone to finished product and everything that you have to do in between. It's over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 20 minutes of conversation and training on that. So there's a link in the description where you can get all that information. Now, with that said, let's go to the live chat and see what's going on here this morning. Mark Lane, how are you doing in Albuquerque? You have a great weekend as well. Thanks so much, Mark. Hey, Shannon, good, beautiful Friday morning to you in the Central Valley of California. Hey, Greg in beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. Neil in Fairfield, Sandra in Dallas-Fort Worth. Bob Loudermilk, our featured morning person here. Thank you, Bob, again for that email. That was just that was amazing. You're a rock star. Friday greetings from Reidsville, North Carolina. Wayne, hello to you in the beautiful Olympic Mountains. MG Stevens, good morning from North Carolina, and happy Memorial Day to you. Yes, yes, yes. As we remember those and honor those who have given of themselves, and some who've made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedoms. What's interesting? I was born on Memorial Day. Memorial Day is my birthday. It used to be my birthday because it used to be May 30th. Every week, regardless. Some of you are too young to remember this, but I remember that May 30th, it doesn't matter if it was on a Monday or a Friday or any day in between, school was out for Memorial Day. So I felt so special because school was always out on my birthday. Later, they changed it to be the Monday. It was always on a Monday to make for a long holiday weekend, which I totally get. I get it. Hey, Carolyn, how are you doing? Excuse me, in sunny Lake Como, Italy. Hope you're doing well. You have a good weekend as well. Hey, John in Rhinebeck, New York. Corey, good morning to you in Whitehall, Wisconsin. Hey, Kathleen, today is my last day as a teacher. I'm going to miss the rest, but I'm headed home. All right. Well, congratulations on that. Tom, how are you doing in South Florida? Hope things are going well for you. Rusty in the UP. Jorge, nice to be here and learn from the best. Well, thank you, Jorge. Dory, how are you doing in Maryland? Philip in Tokyo. Thanks for joining us. Mark, top of the morning to you as well. Driving my bus to Colorado on Tuesday, taking all the good lessons with me. Looking forward to the next lesson. Thank you, Mark. Hey, Rob, how are you doing? Welcome to the morning live stream. Doug, hello to you in Indianapolis. Making final radio preparations for the Indy 500. Well, that's exciting. That's one of the cool things about broadcasting is to be able to be involved in that kind of stuff. The other day, Vicky she was digging through some boxes in the basement, came across some old pictures. And when I say old pictures, I mean, we're talking early to mid 1980s old pictures. And we got married in 1980. And so this was very early on in our marriage. Early on in my career, I was fresh out of college, but I started working broadcasting in Columbus, Ohio. And I got the opportunity over Memorial weekend, that weekend, to do some coverage of the Memorial Tournament, which is on the PGA Tour, which happens in Columbus, well, Dublin, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus. And I posted some pictures that she found that I took. One was of President Gerald Ford, who was out there on the Pro-Am day playing some golf. Had a picture of him and Tom Weiskopf, who passed away not all that long ago. But I remember seeing Bob Hope out there. There was a ton of people. It was such a cool experience. Broadcasting does provide for some interesting and fun experiences. Corey, the bell. You're laughing at my bell. Hey, don't laugh at my bell. I'm doing the best I can here. Tanya, good Friday morning to you in South Philly. Wally. Oh, thank you. Sherry, what's going on in Amarillo, Texas? Hey, Meryl, when you have a directed session scheduled and have the script in advance, how many times do you go over it? I don't want to stumble, but I also don't want to overanalyze. Advice? That's a good question, Meryl. I typically, if it's like a commercial script, I'll read through it a couple of times. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times, usually no more than that. If it's a long script, like, 10, 20 pages, I don't even read the whole thing. I will skim over it just to get a sense of I'll read the first part of it, maybe the first page, and then I'll just kind of skim through the rest to see if there's any words that I need to research or anything like that, and I wanna get a sense of, what it's all about. Um, Part of that's because I've done this for so long. I think I've been through the process so much that I don't get nervous so much to do sessions, and so I feel confident. If you're earlier on in Merrill, I mean, I know you haven't been doing voiceover all that terribly long, and maybe you're at the place where it wouldn't bother you to spend only a few minutes. But if you feel you need to spend more time, go over it an extra time or two to have the confidence, do that. The danger of reading a script too much before a session is this, and this is why I like if I ever produce your demo, speaking to all of you, one thing I will ask you to do is to not study your script before a session. You can look at it, but don't study it because here's what happens. You begin to practice it. And then you begin to, and you're trying to get it perfect before you ever do the demo session. Problem is, whether it's a directed session or a demo session, that director needs to direct you. And if you're so locked into the way you think you should do it, you may have a hard time pivoting and doing what that director asks you to do. So you don't want to become married to a way of doing it. That's my only advice there. Hey, Riley in Paris, Texas. Let's see here. Oops, the chat moved on me here. Where'd it go? It's always a sign I'm not reading fast enough. Theo, greetings to you he says, from my personal voiceover niche, or more specifically, from my kitchen table, as the cherry coffee bubbles and brews in the background. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Theo. Hey, Wade from Philadelphia. Mike in Idaho, working on the marketing channels today. Excellent, Mike. Good deal. Good to hear that. And we've got David in Nebraska. Riley, are you concerned with AI replacing VO talent? No, not really. And by the way, so as not to be redundant, I've recorded several YouTube videos on it. Just search AI here on my channel. And I recently also did a Vox Talk podcast with Stephanie Cicerelli of voices.com about AI. So there's like 3 or 4 different videos out there and podcasts of me talking about this. So with a little search, find those and, spend some time with that if you're concerned. But I talk more about how AI is being used and how I see it being used in the future. I don't see it as an imminent threat, and I don't think it'll ever take over in mass voiceovers. Why? Because computers don't feel. And the number one consideration, voice seekers will say, it's your audio quality, which certainly it is. But after that, you have to connect with them on an emotional level. And you have to understand context. So that's, in a nutshell, my thoughts. Shannon, thank you for the happy birthday. I appreciate that. I don't get quite so excited about them anymore, for all the obvious reasons. Wayne, good morning to you. Doug, good morning. Imelda, good afternoon from Nigeria. I got another job on Wednesday. Yes, I have submitted the work, but the client is yet to review it. It's past 24 hours now, still no response. Yeah, Imelda, don't worry about that. Some clients will get back to you immediately. I've had some take weeks. I mean, here's the only thing I will say. After 24 hours, I go ahead and invoice for the job. You don't want to allow more than 24 hours or so to go by before you invoice for it. So I would invoice for it, but I wouldn't worry, so much about the fact they haven't responded to you. They will. Hey, Mark. Hello, Armand. Thank you for the happy birthdays, guys. Appreciate that. Hey, Barb in Ann Arbor. Tess, what's going on in Decula, Georgia? Corey, thank you. Doug, Memorial Day equals Decoration Day. Meryl, and happy birthday, and thank you for all the guidance. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Meryl. I'm so glad to have, watched you launch your VO career and see what you're doing now. It's very, very exciting. And Wayne, Claire, thanks for the happy birthday. Scott, thank you for the happy birthday. I appreciate it. Victor, good morning to you. Says, I'm just getting started in voiceover. I'm watching all of your videos to figure out what to do. And I even bought your book, How to Start a 6-Figure VO Business. Appreciate the resources. Awesome. Well, thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. Gene, this is my first time with you live. Fantastic, Gene. So glad you're here. So excited to be part of your group. Saying hello from Quebec, close by from Parliament Hill in Ottawa. Fantastic, Gene. Thank you for being here. Victor, in South Carolina, one of my favorite states. Hey, Jerry, how are you doing? It's a beautiful day in Palm Springs, California. Thank you for the happy birthday. It's Paul in the mountains of Western Maryland. Good morning to you. MG says, I caught your Vox talk on building integrity recently. It was great. Thank you. Highly recommend. Thank you, MG. So, yeah, I've been, a guest on Stephanie Cicerelli's Vox Talks podcast a couple of times. And the most recent one was on integrity in voiceover. And so, again, just Google Vox Talks and Vox Talk, VOXTALK, and you'll be able to find those if you're interested in checking those out. Hope you do. Hey, Tess, thank you. And Megan, thank you for the happy birthday. Hey, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day and a great Memorial Day weekend. Take care. Bye.